Could you describe it for us?
The film?
Yeah.
The film is a story of a kind of almost debutante's house, a house that is inhabited by 7 women, one of whom is the headmistress of the home, Miss Farnsworth, who administers control over her students, her flock, with kind of an iron fist, but also with a great deal of love and care. And she's trying to raise these women up and teach them etiquette and French and prepare them for the world that they will eventually enter after the Civil War. The Civil War is raging at this time around this house, and I play a Union soldier who's potentially mortally wounded at the start of the film and gets brought into the house. And these women are Southerners. I'm a Union soldier from the North, get brought into the house. They tend to get me strong again, and then I do make some ill-advised choices, and tension begins to appear in the house, and it all kind of goes to hell in a handbasket really fast in about an hour and 26 minutes, I believe.
The dynamic changes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does very much. Yeah, I mean they've been allowed to live their own lives. There's been 7 women in this house, as I said. They've been allowed to maintain some degree of control, some degree of dignity amongst each other, and then McBurney comes in and he begins to awaken in various of the women a certain kind of animalism, perhaps, or passion or lust, or that has had no reason to be explored and has potentially even been suppressed and never spoken of, and so it all gets pretty messy.
Sofia was talking yesterday about how interested she was in about how that dynamic changes.
Yeah.
Do you think, is that sort of still relevant today? Would it be the same kind of thing? If you were in a house with a...
I think it would. I think there's a certain kind of template of human behavior that we may begin to understand more the source of where it comes from, but we don't necessarily still have the power to change it. It's so deeply and genetically ingrained in us, certain responses, certain emotional responses, things like desire and lust. People lose their lives over such things. People bring children into the world just because they lose their shit one night at 2 o'clock in the morning, because they can't say no. And so I don't know that much has changed. You look at the Stanford prison experiment as a different thing. It didn't involve any women, but the idea of power and control and human behavior and status is something that's incredibly powerful from it, and a lot of it would obviously involve the ego, but I don't think we're that different. I think it would, it'd just be hard to find an environment where there would be that house on its own with 6 women. That was something that was more of the time, or more, yeah.
What was it like on set then?
Easy, man. It was lovely. It was easy, yeah. And they'd be taking the piss. Like Sofia, I'd arrive on the set, and every now and then she'd go, "Oh, here's McBurney," like yeah. It was silly. And as she says in the press conference, I was the token man, so she kind of had a joke at my expense as a result of that. But I loved it, and I loved working with all these actresses, and I loved being directed by Sofia. And it was a really, really easy set. She's got such a very real gentility, Sofia, and a kind of an elegance to her as a woman. She's very kind, she's very thoughtful, she's very gentle, she's quiet, and that mood kind of pervaded, the set. And it was I think it was the easiest set I've been on in 20 years. I swear, I'm not just saying. I think it was the easiest I've been on in 20 years. It was lovely. 6 weeks in New Orleans, and in between takes there was a picnic table out the back, and everyone would go out and sit around the picnic table, drink coffee, shoot the shit, and then we get back in and kill each other. And
what was it like seeing it for the first time? Did it surprise you at all?
I'm not. Beautiful. It's hard. Oh my God! I think it is the most sumptuous film that I've done. I think aesthetically it's the most beautiful. The way Philippe Lassorde lit it was like it was like a dream, And I think that was a gorgeous counterpoint, and it was a very clear choice on Sofia's part to the violence that ends up taking place within the house, and the kind of internal sickness that ends up coming up through a couple of the characters. I think there was a nice counterpoint to the beauty and the elegance and the softness and the dreamlike aspect of the way she shot it and lit it to what actually the ugliness that ultimately takes place and takes hold.